shall determine that contents are proper kind for intended use. If defected in the manufacture, labeling, or packaging, contents will be replaced. There are no other warranties, expressed or implied. And a little bit lower, it says the term Scotch. Scotch being, in quotations, and the plaid design are registered trademarks for magnetic tape made in USA by Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company. And that is sort of all the information on this. If we were, to rotate it around to the different ends, there's more places for labels if you want to give it a real number or a date. And there's also a kind of secondary label for the box. It's a little hard to focus on just the side, so I'll read it for you. It says, number 111A12, Scotch brand, magnetic tape, plastic, 1/4 inch, 1,200 feet, which, I don't know if you, maybe generationally, this was sort of hard to come by. Oh no, you might be able to hear, my roommate just walked down the hall. Anyway, I think, unless you own a reel-to-reel, you probably have never experienced this, but, I think the door is you, but they're not good unless you intend for them. The silicone lubricant, in addition, eliminates squeal caused by the intermittent sticking and seizing of magnetic tape to the head, a feature vitally important in high temperatures and humidity. In the Scotch brand magnetic tape lubrication process, the silicone is actually impregnated throughout the tape, lying in the spaces between the oxide particles and the resin. The silicone continually relubricates the tape surface. The lubrication, therefore, does not merely cling to the tape surface to be worn away, nor is there any excess of lubrication to wipe from the capstans or the rail. The capstans being, I don't know, but I believe how you attach the reels. The film of silicone lubricant lasts the life of the tape. All these unique properties are your assurance that Scotch brand magnetic tape is silicone lubricated for its entire recording life. And there's fun little lovely infographics I'll point out in a second of silicone lubricant having a grand old time. And then there's step-by-steps for how to splice. So here's how to make tight, noise-free splices. Step 1. Cut tape diagonally with an overlap so the ends will line up. Cutting tape on a diagonal will eliminate detection of splice on recording, which is actually true. I know that to be true. In modern audio, it will be referred to as a crossfade. But anyway, if you were using, your DAW and pushing two clips together, that's what that would be called. Step 2. Align both ends of tape, uncoated side up, shiny on plastic, gray on paper. Step 3. Cover aligned ends with Scotch brand splicing tape, number 41. Press firmly, exerting pressure to secure ends evenly and securely. Step 4. Trim off excess splicing tape. Cut into the recording tape backing very slightly as illustrated by the dotted lines. This eliminates the possibility of a sticky splice. We hate a sticky splice. It doesn't say that, I thought I'd add it. There are some important warning and storage recommendations, but I'm going to skip them so that I can read you some helpful tips. Tip 1. Some machines use A wind type and others B wind type. However, the reel is easily changed from A wind, oxide facing in, to B wind, oxide facing out, or vice versa by twisting tape 1/2 turn and rewinding. Tip number 2. Record and erase head and cap stand of recorder should be cleaned periodically with pipe cleaner or cotton swab and carbon tetrachloride to ensure maximum performance. And tip number 3. For best results, the tape should be erased on the same machine on which the recording was made. That's also a very good rule of thumb. And there's a few more kind of tips and tricks across, but I will save you the details. And before we move on to the next box, or I guess I should say the next thing, I just wanted to show you the, very cute little, I'm gonna, hang on. There we go. Sorry about that, my screen fell asleep. But before we move on, I've got our lovely little silicone droplet man. And he's smiling and he's kind of, Sweet Georgia Brown by Tiny Hill, and Tenderly by Ballin' the Jack. These are the songs that were initially on the Scotch magnetic tape when I purchased it. Not all of these recordings were there. I think the person who had put it for sale spent some time erasing it. But it's nice, and I haven't read through this in a while, so I didn't realize that Back of My Heart was at one point on them. I think that's kind of interesting. But that's nice, and the paper, as you can tell, is very old. And I'll try to keep this next part quick so we can, wrap up this video in a timely manner. But the next one is my favorite of the two, and it is this box. It's this lovely blue, and it's made by one of my favorite audio companies, which I think if you were to, quiz audio people and ask them, if Soundcraft was their favorite brand, they would probably tell you no, but I'm a big fan of their products. So, hey, if you want to sponsor me, Soundcraft. I'm kidding, I don't think they do that. Anyway, I'll just read the front. Soundcraft, plus 50% extra playing time, magnetic recording tape. Reeves Soundcraft Corporation, Great Pasture Road, Danbury, Connecticut. It's DuPont Mylar polyester film, and you can see on the side, I think it's their old-timey slogan. It says "Every sound a reason," which I'm not certain if it's every sound reason, but it's at least a lot of them. This one I do know does not have anything inside of it. However, when I purchased it, the previous owner had left some notes on the back where they included some details, and I don't think I'm going to go through and read kind of each of them, but I will read the first detail that I think is, I don't know, kind of neat. Side 1 was recorded on the 19th of November in 1960. So this